good example of trying to do some mating. Chronologically speaking, weapons of the world date as far back as humans do. In the paper a lot, you'll see headlines with the oldest tools found, and you can find some of those dates back to like 5 million years ago, but anthropologists generally stick with the beginning of Homo habilis, which is 2.5 million years ago. So there's your little human origins lesson for tonight. Wooden spears were, pretty simple to think about a time where people are using what's available. Chimpanzees too, they have examples of chimps using little tools and termite mounds. So that's a tool, and could be a weapon, I guess, if you're
If you're a termite.
you're hunting with it, if you're a termite. So using a larger wooden tool, not a far departure. Fire-hardened spears, using fire to create a denser matrix, and that begins around 250,000 years. And I should say these are dated by archaeologists, found on archaeological sites. So could they predate that? I don't know. This is just what archaeologists have the evidence for, either by doing carbon dating or dating methods to date sites. And later when there's drawings or written record, that really helps out a lot. Complex stone blades, bow and arrow worldwide about 60,000 years ago, but pay attention to that number when we talk about Florida. Javelins, 42,000 years ago, and this is fun, like what's the difference between a spear and a javelin, but I think it all has to do with the throwing. Atlatls, 27,000 years ago. Raise your hand if you know what an atlatl is. All right, the second half of the presentation is just for you. Metal weapons starting about 3300 BC, and that's worldwide again, not here in Florida. And I just threw in the gunpowder. Chinese had a form of it in 1232, it's first recorded. So just to give you a little context worldwide, how these weapons play out. A lot of our weapons come to Florida, how people came. The dates don't reflect, we haven't been using some of these tools 20, 40, 60,000 years ago in Florida. Why not? There's no people here. So we go with introduced from the old world and through the either Bering Ice Bridge. There's other theories coming up from South America. I'll entertain just about any idea, but some of the dates fluctuate because of that, because of the traveling. So how does it break down in Florida? We have long fluted chipstone projectile points, and this is again 16,000 through 11,000 years ago. Anyone want to fight me on 16,000 years ago? It's pretty far back there, but I think at Charlotte Harbor, National Geographic just did a study recently and published on it. Some really good consistent dates coming out of Charlotte Harbor area. Kevin Porter with the state, some of those updates.
I thought we were underwater then.
We'll get to that too. Not so much this. We're elevated a little bit. Knives, drills, choppers, scrapers, hammerstones around 11,000, 9,000 years ago. Dogs used as a hunting technique. I thought I'd throw that in here. Florida, we have archaeological evidence back to 4,000 years ago. Bow and arrow. What was our date in the previous slide? Right, and here, about 800 AD. What happened? They broke. It was just not widespread technology. I think people are very surprised by that too, because of the Plains Indians in the Southwest. And it was in more widespread use in other areas of the country. But Florida is very unique. Our ceramic dates are different than everybody else's. A lot of our lithic dates are different than everyone else's. And the bow and arrow, there's some people that don't even think it was used. I'm not going to go that far.
We had to have been isolated then from these other groups, or we would have probably picked it up.
Could be. Oh, I keep forgetting about you.
Also, our wood is different.
Yeah, maybe access to resources. And during that time period, we'll talk about it, but the stone tools become much more brittle and not as finely made, according to some experts later in that time. So I'm not sure what's happening exactly there, but we'll talk about it a little more. Fishing weirs, I was excited to find an archaeological reference to it as far back as 1 AD. Could definitely go back much further, but we don't have a good dated site before that. And firearms and iron, and I just put when the Spanish came and used Ponce de Leon's date. I saw a list that had 1562. I wasn't exactly sure what that date was, so I thought, let's go with 1513. That seems pretty safe. And I love to show the pictures of Ted Morris. This is a Timucuan hunter using a spear. Looks sharpened there. And moving on, I don't know why we didn't have a stone point on there. I want to talk a little bit about stone points. One of the best ways we know how to date sites, with the technology that people are using, the different weapons they're using in their life, is by looking at the tip of the spear. That's why I don't have the slide. I've got a spear. Wow. A spear, a show and tell item. What's it made out of? All right, we got a nice wood shaft coming up to this point. What's the point made out of? Some flint, chert. I use the word interchangeably. Definitely stone. It looks like it's got maybe a little simulated pitch on there to keep it attached to the shaft, and then some sinews, some kind of animal-made core that they're using to affix it to the top. The points, what will exist 10,000 years later in the ground? If I went and buried it out there, it's going to biodegrade. The whole shaft will be gone, the sinew will be gone, the pitch, we may not have any evidence of that, and we'll be stuck at the point. So that's why these points become so valuable, because they do remain. They often remain as they were left in the ground. So they don't change much, and the styles can change a lot over time, and really well documented over lots and lots and lots of different states, different areas. So we really like our projectile points for helping us out with chronology. The points, by the way, help us date other things. Ceramics, beads, things we don't know when they date to. If we find a good point to go with it, then we can say, well, that necklace dates to about 2,000 years ago because of the point that we found right next to it. This is the Florida Bible of projectile points. And I was ready just in case. Usually somebody will come up and I'm like, what do I have here? Well, let me start looking through and trying to find it. Ripley Bullen wrote this book. He started putting it together in the 1950s. He went through the Florida Museum of Natural History's collection in Gainesville, and started ordering about 50 different kinds of points that he saw. And the real key to his typology is the bases. And they have a nice example of it online, or for ordering information, you can go to the Florida Museum of Natural History, and they have some on sale. Sadly, there's a sticker that says it's available for $4, but it actually costs us $16. So don't pay any attention. It's a lying little sticker right here.